Welcome once again to How to Relate to Anyone. Here is Dr. Orv Owens.
Well, hello again, and we welcome you back to our show on relating to people based upon their value system, relating to people based upon their wants, their needs, and their desires. And that's what we're going to talk about in this program. Wants are the physical part of life. What do I really want physically in my life? Needs are more emotional, what I need in life, what I need from my relationships and whatever. And desires are spiritual, and that by spiritual I don't mean religious, although that is part of our religious experience. But everything in our world is also spiritual. So we're going to start with the wants in this lesson, and the next two lessons will cover the needs and the desires. So we'll skate through the wants. Wants are physical, and we're going to look at the 5 motivations that you viewed in the last 5 lessons. What we want as human beings, we want physical comforts. We want a home to live in. We want a car that's decent, runs well, that gets you where you want to go. In some cases, you want a car that impresses people. We'll talk about that later. But with this motivation, something that's dependable, that I can turn the key on and it's going to start. Something that I can live in, and I have room for the things that I want to accomplish in my life as far as my home life is concerned. That's basic wants, not elaborate, just the basic thing. And for most people, they want something that it creates some creature comforts, creates some opportunities to achieve some goals of what they want to do within the home, within the car they drive, within the job they work, at which they work. It's all of our life is kind of controlled by what we want. I want a job that pays well and people appreciate me. I want a home that is roomy enough for my wife and I and our children, maybe the grandchildren if we have grandchildren, maybe guests, whatever I want. Well, the fatalistic fear causes a person to be very conservative in their wants. I just don't think I can afford that. I'd like to, but I just can't afford it. And the more you say that, the more you are being controlled by this fatalistic fear. Because what you're only considering is probably I wouldn't be able to afford it, probably wouldn't be able to make the payments, probably wouldn't be able to use that or do that or whatever. And so it's looking at failure, or looking at not meeting the mark before the fact, before we even try. And so the foods we eat, the restaurants we frequent, all those kind of things pretty well are controlled by whether we have this fear or not. Fatalistic fear would cause us to be very conservative in any of those things that we do, including how much we pay for clothes and how much we pay for food and restaurants and that sort of thing. Not putting anybody down, but we all have this fear and we allow it to control us at times in our lives to the degree that we are limited what we feel comfortable doing because of the possibility of failure. What if? The what if, when the what if is making the decision, we normally go quite conservative and back off and don't really do those things or buy those things that we really want. And this fits into, as a manager, if you're managing people, you're going to have employees who would like to get a promotion, who would like to take on more responsibility, but they're afraid they're going to fail and have egg on their face, so they won't try and they don't apply for some of those positions. You can encourage those people by backing them up by saying, I'm here. That's why I'm here. My only job is to make sure you learn what you need to learn to do what you need to do. So don't hesitate to take on more responsibility. I'm here to support you in that. And between the two of us, we're going to get the job done. And that's where you lift people above their fears. It's the way salespeople lift people above their fears so they purchase. We're going to take care of you. We're going to make it happen. Second motivation is the exasperator, as you recall. The exasperator, being the person who is more physically oriented, are going to be tough. They're going to want recognition for their position. Yeah, I've done that. I've been there. I'm number one. I. A lot of I's, a lot of me's. And if you recognize that, you'll know that then you need to give recognition to their position, recognition to what they've achieved, recognition to their skill level. Compliment them on what they've achieved in their life in the way of personal development, skill development, or education, all those things. They want power, and they want power to be recognized. Want to be recognized as a person with power. And it might be a small chunk of power, but it's power. And you build on that. And so you give recognition. My friend Bob, I always say, Bob, what are you achieving today? And you're always winning something. I give him a position. In management, if you do not give recognition to a person who has this motivation for their achievements regularly, they will lose enthusiasm. They will stop trying. You keep them highly motivated by saying, you know, one of the great things about you is I can give you a job and you make it happen. You're a make things happen guy, or you're a make things happen person. The ability to motivate people by recognizing, in this case, they have exasperator motivation and they need power and they need recognition for that power. And if you give them that recognition, they stretch to meet your expectations, they become high achievers, and they don't get in the way. If you don't, you're liable to get into some bad situations with arguments and disappointments and even quitting on the job. Not quitting and going to work someplace else, just backing off and not getting the job done in a timely manner or whatever. In sales, if you don't give this person recognition for their position and their achievements in life, you won't have a prospect. Their mind will be closed. When their mind is closed, they can't even hear your presentation. So it's vitally important you give them recognition for their achievements, recognition for their power and their strength and all the things they've achieved in life. And in so doing, it opens their minds so they can trust you. They feel that you recognize their strengths, and now they in turn return that by giving you recognition for what you're offering, whether you're a manager, salesperson, or just a friend. Relators, well, we skipped one. Appraiser, let me go back. The appraiser is the detail person, as you recall. Facts, figures, and details, have to have them. Not comfortable with approximately in the neighborhood right around. And so they want as much details, much facts, as much detail as possible in any decision-making process especially. If you're a salesperson and you're dealing with a product or a service, you've got to give them all the details all the way down to what the last payment is, when the last payment's going to be made and what that payment's going to be. The more detail you can give the appraiser, the more comfortable they are in making a positive decision. And closing sales with appraisers is difficult because most salespeople do not get into enough detail. This is the person you pull out all the charts and you show all the pictures. They want to know everything before they make a decision to buy. In management, if you do not give enough definitions of what you want this person to achieve, what you want them to do on this particular task or this particular job situation, they're going to question you. And when they start questioning, they're saying, boss, you haven't given me enough information. Come on, I need to know what you really want. Because if I don't know what you really want, how am I supposed to do what you really want? And it makes sense, but the appraisers go overboard. They need more detail than possible. If you're married to a person that's the appraiser motivation, you know what I mean. You come home from work or come home, get together, and they got 100 questions. And it's all about little facts, figures, and details that have happened in the day. So give them enough detail and they're happy. Not enough detail, you've lost them. Knowledge is important to them. They like test results. If you're talking in sales, the more test results you can give a person in a sales situation, the more convinced they are that this is the product for me. And incidentally, guess what they'll do? You talk about referral business. With the appraiser, they will say, here's what I found. This, and this. And they're going to quote all of the facts, figures, and details that you gave them about the test results and how powerful this product is because. And that's where a lot of referral business comes from. People who take into account all the details you give them. The appraiser is that person, and they have to have the details. They want guarantees. They love testimonials of people who have had success with your product or service. They love to be told by a manager that I'm backing you 100% in this. So if you get into any type of fix where you do not have an answer, I am your answer man. Get back to me. I'll take care of it. And that assurance causes people to move and be creative pretty much on their own because they feel comfortable and can be creative. The relator are the people, and as you've heard in the previous lessons, their wants are for acceptance, approval, recognition. They love compliments. They give compliments. And in most cases, they give compliments to get compliments. So if I say to you, "My, you're looking so good today," and you just say, one of those days, that doesn't satisfy me. I wanted you to say, "Or if you're looking pretty good too." So I give a compliment to receive a compliment. It makes sense. If I give to you, you should give back to me. It just makes sense. So relators are very much into giving acceptance and approval and recognition and compliments, hoping that you come back with the same thing on their part. And a little disappointed when that doesn't happen. Most people who have relator as a high motivation want to be your best friend. And they want to hear that they are your best friend. They want to hear that pretty regularly. I want you to meet my best friend, Joe. They love that. Yeah, that's me. I'm best friend. And it seems kind of superficial, but the fact is, it's vitally important to them because it's a level of acceptance. And that's what they want. They want acceptance and approval and appreciation. They want to know that they're your favorite employee. How's my favorite employee? If you say that to a relator twice a day, they'll just work their tail off for you because they want to earn that favorite position that you've given them verbally, physically. And a repeated assurance of acceptance and a solid relationship is really important to relators. You need to often say, you are my best friend and I count on you, and it's so great to have a friend like you in these times. Friends come through and you're one of the best friends I've ever had. Those kind of things are vitally important to say to relators because everything they do is for that kind of acceptance and approval and appreciation. And then we want to talk about you for a little bit, and that's the love-motivated person. Of course, the love-motivated person wants productivity, number one. What are we trying to achieve and how are we going to get there? They want good working relationships, which means You understand what they want from you, and you understand that what they need to fulfill their responsibilities on the job, they want to know all of that, because it's vitally important that as the boss takes care of me and sets me up so I can succeed. In sales, they want to know that you back what you're saying, you back that product. That's got this guarantee. Let me give you 90 days. Look at this, use it for 90 days. You'll be impressed and you'll want to hang on to it. I'm not going to be able to take it away from you after 90 days. If in 90 days it's not everything I said it is, you've paid for nothing. You get your money back, and you just give me back the product or service. That's what love-motivated people do. They give assurances to cause people to stretch to meet their expectations, cause people to feel comfortable, cause people to feel that you're moving in unity and with good support and appreciation for their hard work, appreciation for them as clients or customers, appreciation for the achievements they have made in the workplace. Those things are vitally important. Love-motivated people give assurances, give acceptance and appreciation regularly, almost too much it seems, but I don't think you can do it too much. So what love-motivated people want more than anything else is a working relationship that creates productivity for you and for them. When you have that love motivation going, then people stretch to meet your expectations, and that creates a high level of productivity. In our next lesson, we're going to look at and define emotional needs, the needs of each of these motivations. Remember, they're emotional, they're not physical. And we've dealt with the physical side. Let's look at what feels good to them. What is it that warm fuzzy that makes them feel complete? That's our next lesson. Be sure and tune in.